The ship's mess hall was almost empty when he sat down with his tray. Outside the window, the stars moved slowly past, cold and silent. He had been enjoying a quiet moment, just eating his meal, when he noticed someone staring at him from the next table. She was small, young, and clearly not human. Her skin had a faint glow under the dim lights, almost silver with a soft shimmer. Her eyes were large, bright, and fixed entirely on him. She tilted her head, studying every detail of his face as if she was trying to solve some puzzle. Finally, she spoke. Her voice was clear, but the question she asked almost made him choke on his drink. "Is it true," she said, "that human males don't eat their females during mating season?" He stared at her, blinking, wondering if he had heard her wrong. "I'm sorry, what?" She leaned forward, as if she was sharing some deep secret. "Among my people, after mating, the male eats the female. It is tradition. It is how it has always been. But I have heard humans are different. Is it true?" He set his fork down. "Yes, it's true. We don't eat our females. We take care of them. We live with them. We raise children together." Her eyes widened, as if this was some wild, unbelievable story. "You keep them alive? For how long?" "For always," he said, unsure whether to laugh or be horrified. "Why would you kill someone you care about?" She tilted her head again, frowning slightly. "Care about? That is not something our males do. Females are for one season only. After that, the male proves his strength by ending her." He felt a chill, not because of the temperature, but because she was so calm while saying it. "That's awful," he said quietly. She gave a small shrug, as if it was normal to her. "That is why I had to ask. If it is true, then human females must feel safe all the time. They must never fear their mates." He noticed her tone. It wasn't just curiosity. There was a strange longing in her voice. Before he could ask more, a group of her own kind entered the mess hall. Tall, broad, with sharp, scaled skin. They glanced at her, then at him, and began to smirk in a way that was not friendly. Her posture changed immediately. She straightened, her glowing skin dimming slightly, and lowered her voice. "Do not let them take me," she whispered quickly. The human narrowed his eyes. "Why would they? They think I have spoken too much to you," she said, cutting him off. He looked at the approaching group, then back at her frightened eyes. This was no longer a strange conversation. Something dangerous was here, and it had just found them. And as they stopped at his table, one thought burned in his mind. What had he just gotten himself into? The tallest of the alien males stopped beside their table, his shadow falling over both of them. His eyes were narrow, glowing faintly, and his scaled skin caught the light like dull armor. He looked down at the human and then at the girl, a slow, mocking smile spreading across his face. "So," he said in a deep voice, "you're speaking to a human male now? Has he told you their lies?" The girl's hands curled into fists in her lap. "Leave me alone," she said quietly, without looking at him. The other two males laughed. One leaned closer to her and whispered something in their own language. The human couldn't understand the words, but the way she flinched told him everything. Whatever was said was a threat. The tall one turned his attention fully to the human. "Be careful, human. She is not yours to speak to. She belongs to her people, and they take offense when outsiders touch their property." The human's jaw tightened. "She doesn't look like property to me," he said calmly. That made them laugh again, but there was no humor in it. "You don't know our ways," the tall one said. "She will return to us when the time comes, whether she likes it or not." The girl's voice was trembling now. "I will not go back." The tall one bent down, bringing his face level with hers. "You will, or you will not live long enough to regret it." The human's hand moved slowly, pushing his tray aside. "I think you should walk away," he said. The tall alien stared at him for a long moment, his eyes narrowing further. But then he smirked, straightened, and motioned for the other two to follow. "Enjoy your meal, human," he said. "It might be your last with her." They walked away, their heavy footsteps echoing across the mess hall. The girl exhaled shakily, as if she had been holding her breath the whole time. "You shouldn't have spoken to them like that," she said. "They will not forget it." "Good," he replied. "Neither will I." She glanced at him, her glowing skin flickering faintly. "You don't understand. Once they decide to take something, they don't stop. They will hunt across worlds if they have to." He leaned closer. "Then tell me, why are they after you?" She hesitated, looking down at her hands. "Because I refused the choosing. My people. The males compete to claim a female during the season. I was chosen by one I despise. I ran before the season began. To them, that is shame, and they will erase it by killing me." The human's eyes hardened. "And you thought hiding on a human ship would keep you safe?" "I didn't know where else to go," she said softly. "But now, I'm glad I found you." Her voice was small, but her eyes were full of something he hadn't seen before, trust. And he knew then that if those aliens came for her again, they'd have to go through him first. The next day, the human found her sitting alone in the cargo bay, her knees pulled close, staring at the metal floor as if the answers to her problems were hidden in the scratches. He walked over and sat beside her. "You should eat something," he said gently. She shook her head. "I'm not hungry." He didn't push. Instead, he let the silence settle for a moment before speaking again. "Tell me about your people. I need to understand what we're up against." She glanced at him, uncertain. "You will not like it." "Try me," he said. She took a slow breath. "On my world, the seasons control everything. When the mating season begins, the males fight each other for the right to take a female. It is not about love. It is about showing dominance. And when it ends..." She looked away. "So does the female's life." He frowned deeply. "That's not just cruel. It's insane." "To you, maybe," she replied quietly. "To us, it is our way. It has been for thousands of years." "Then why run?" he asked. Her lips trembled, and her voice dropped to a whisper. "Because I didn't want to die." He didn't know what to say to that, so he stayed silent, letting her continue. "I was chosen by one of the strongest males. His clan is powerful. If I had stayed, I would already be gone. I escaped before the season began, hiding on cargo ships, staying in shadows. But I think he sent hunters after me." The human's eyes narrowed. "The ones from last night?" She nodded. "They will follow me until they bring me back, or until I am dead. Either way, they believe they restore their honor." He leaned forward, resting his arms on his knees. "You should know something about humans. We don't like bullies, and we don't just give people up to die." Her eyes softened, a faint glow returning to her skin. "You would fight for me?" "I've fought for less," he said with a small smirk. For the first time, she gave a tiny smile, but it didn't last long. A loud clang echoed from the far side of the cargo bay, making both of them snap their heads toward the sound. They stood and walked toward it. The human scanned the shadows between stacked crates. Something was off. And then he saw it, deep, jagged claw marks gouged into the metal floor, leading toward the wall. But it wasn't just scratches. Someone had carved words in a language he didn't know. She stepped forward, her face paling as she read them. "What does it say?" he asked. Her voice was low, shaking. "It says, 'She is ours.'" The air between them grew heavy. The human's jaw clenched. Whoever left that message wasn't far, and they weren't going to wait politely for the next move. The ship docked at a remote trading station 2 days later. The air inside the station smelled of oil, smoke, and old metal. Traders shouted over each other, selling goods from 100 worlds. Lights flickered overhead, casting long, restless shadows. The human kept a steady pace, the alien girl walking close beside him. She kept her hood up, her glowing skin hidden. Even with the noise of the market, he could feel her tension. She kept looking over her shoulder. "They're here," she whispered. He didn't ask how she knew. He trusted her fear. They turned down a narrow corridor lined with storage crates. That's when the first figure stepped out of the shadows. One of the males from the mess hall, tall, armored, with cold predator eyes. Going somewhere? The alien male asked with a slow smile. Two more appeared behind them, blocking the way back. The human's hand instinctively went toward the tool clipped to his belt. It wasn't a weapon, but it could be. The tall one's eyes shifted to the girl. You've caused enough trouble. You come with us now. Your running is over. Her voice trembled. I will never go back. The male stepped closer, ignoring the human completely. Your refusal means nothing. You belong to the one who claimed you. She doesn't belong to anyone, the human said sharply. The alien male's eyes narrowed. This is not your concern, human. Leave before you regret it. He took a step forward, placing himself between them and the girl. It became my concern the moment you started hunting her. The other two males laughed, their voices low and ugly. You think you can stand against us? Your kind is weak. Soft. The human didn't move. Maybe, but I'm still the one standing in your way. The tall one's expression hardened. You will regret that. In one smooth motion, he reached for the human's throat, but the human sidestepped, grabbing his wrist and twisting hard. The alien grunted in pain, surprised at the sudden resistance. The other two stepped forward, ready to strike. The girl backed away, her eyes wide, unsure if he could really protect her. The human's voice was calm, almost too calm. You get one chance to walk away. The tall one's lip curled into a snarl. And if we don't? He tightened his grip on the tool in his hand, the metal edge catching the dim light. Then you find out why no one touches what a human guards. The air between them was charged, the crowd noise from the market fading into the background. This was no longer a conversation. It was a choice, one they were about to regret making. The tall alien lunged first, his massive hand swinging like a hammer toward the human's head. But the human ducked under the blow, stepping in close instead of retreating. His shoulder slammed into the alien's chest, knocking the wind out of him for just a moment. The other two rushed forward, their scaled feet clanging against the metal floor. The girl pressed herself against the wall, her hood falling back as she watched with wide, glowing eyes. The human moved fast, faster than they expected. He sidestepped one attacker and hooked his foot behind the alien's ankle, sending him stumbling into the crates with a heavy crash. The tall one recovered and came again, this time with claws out, aiming to rip the human apart. But the human twisted his wrist, driving the metal tool in his hand into the alien's forearm. It wasn't a lethal strike, but it was enough to make the alien roar in pain and drop his weapon. You fight like prey, one of them growled. The human gave a short, cold laugh. Prey doesn't hit back. One tried to tackle him from behind, but the human spun, grabbed the alien's arm, and used his momentum to flip him over onto the floor with a bone-jarring thud. The move was clean, efficient, no wasted energy, no wild swings. The girl couldn't believe what she was seeing. Her people fought with brute strength, smashing until someone stopped moving. But this was different. The human strikes were precise, his movements quick, and every hit had purpose. The last standing alien hesitated, his eyes flicking between his fallen companions and the human now standing in front of him, breathing steady. Your choice? The human said, voice calm but sharp as a blade. The alien hissed, backing toward the corridor. This isn't over. I know, the human replied. But you're done for today. The three of them retreated, dragging the unconscious one with them. The tall alien shot one last glare at the girl before disappearing around the corner. The human turned to her, scanning for injuries. You all right? She nodded slowly, still trying to find her voice. You didn't even kill them. Didn't have to, he said. Fighting isn't about destroying someone. It's about making sure they don't try again. Her glowing skin brightened slightly, like a faint smile in light form. Your females must be very lucky. He shrugged. We try to take care of them. That's the point. She stared at him, the words still strange to her ears. On her world, strength meant ending someone's life. But this human strength was in protecting it. and for the first time in a long time, she felt something she had never known before: safe. The station's corridors felt quieter after the fight, but the human knew silence didn't mean safety. The alien girl stayed close to him as they returned to the ship, her steps light, her glowing skin faint under the dim lights. That night, he found her in the small galley, sitting at the table with a steaming mug in her hands. She looked up when he entered, her eyes soft but thoughtful. "You didn't have to fight for me," she said quietly. "Yes, I did," he replied. "Someone had to." Her fingers traced the rim of the mug. "On my world, no one fights for the female. The female fights for herself or she dies. That is how it is." "Well," he said, pouring himself a drink, "where I'm from, we fight for each other. We protect the people we care about." She tilted her head slightly, studying his face. "Do you care about me?" He hesitated only for a second. "I don't let people I don't care about stand in danger." Her skin brightened just a little, a faint pulse of light that seemed to match the quickening of her breath. She looked down, hiding a small smile. Over the next few days, they spoke more. She asked endless questions about Earth, about oceans, about animals, about music. She seemed fascinated by the idea of families living together, growing old side by side. One evening, he showed her how to make a simple Earth meal. She laughed when she got the measurements wrong and made a mess on the counter. The sound was light, warm, and it caught him off guard. "You should laugh more often," he said. "I forgot how," she admitted. "Until now." But their quiet moments didn't last. While they were sharing a meal, the ship's comm system beeped with an incoming transmission. The human walked over, pressing the button. The screen lit up with a distorted image, but the voice that came through was clear and full of venom. "We are coming for her," the voice said. "And when we take her, we will take you too." The girl's hands tightened around her cup, her glow dimming in fear. "It's him," she whispered. "The one who claimed me." The human didn't flinch. "Good," he said. "I'd rather they come to me than keep chasing you." Her eyes widened. "You're not afraid?" He shook his head. "They don't understand something important. Humans don't give up the people they protect." For the first time, she believed him completely. And somewhere deep inside, she began to hope. The warning came sooner than expected. The ship's sensors picked up multiple incoming vessels, all bearing the same crest, sharp silver claws across a black circle. The alien girl froze when she saw it on the screen. "That's his clan," she whispered. "They will not stop." The human was already moving, his hands dancing across the ship's controls. "Then we make sure they can't take you." He guided the ship toward a small, abandoned docking ring orbiting the station. Its lights were dead, its corridors cold and empty, a perfect place for a trap. When the enemy ships arrived, 3 heavy boarding craft locked onto the ring. Their boots clanged against the metal floors as they spread out, searching. The human waited in the shadows, his tools and traps already set. The first alien to step into the maintenance tunnel triggered a hidden cable that snapped around his legs, sending him crashing to the ground. Another tried to cut through the cable, only to set off a spark charge that flared in his face, blinding him. The human moved quickly, locking doors behind them, cutting off their escape. The boarding party's leader, the tall male from before, finally spotted him across the dark corridor. "You cannot win, human," the leader growled. "She is mine by right." "She's not a prize," the human said, stepping forward. "And she's not yours." The leader roared and charged. But the human had been waiting. He hit a control panel on the wall, and a blast door dropped between them. The alien slammed into it, stunned for just long enough for the human to trigger the last part of his plan, venting the section into a sealed containment bay. The aliens were trapped, their weapons useless. The girl appeared at the far end of the corridor, her glow returning, brighter now. She looked at him, wide-eyed. You did it." He walked to her, calm as if he had just finished fixing a broken pipe. "Told you I'd keep you safe." The leader shouted from behind the sealed door, promising revenge, but the human ignored him. He transmitted a warning to their clan ship. Anyone who came after her again would face the same fate. Back on their own ship, the girl stood beside him in the cockpit. Her voice was soft, but steady. "You could have left me. You could have let them take me." "Not my style," he said. She smiled faintly. "If your kind does not eat their females, maybe one day I could be yours." He didn't answer right away, but the small smile at the corner of his mouth was enough for her to see. Outside, the stars stretched endless before them, and for the first time she felt free.